Yo, what's happening, people? Welcome back to the Tiki Taka podcast, where you're going to hear hot takes, unbiased opinions, and hopefully have a couple laughs along the way.
Yes.
And obviously, we're going to have a shorter episode today because there was only 5 Premier League games on the weekend. We might talk about some of the other stuff going on, like Afcon. But before we get into that, me and Michael just had a conversation off air. One of our TikToks that I posted last week did pretty well. And the Wolves fans are happy.
We appreciate you, Wolves fans.
Yeah,
That's got to be said. We appreciate
think,
all fans of all clubs.
I think the Wolves fans feel like they haven't seen enough, maybe podcasts, mainstream media, Sky, BT, or TNT now, give Gary O'Neill the praise that he should. But if you want to hear that praise, come here.
It's here.
Come here, because we've been giving Gary O'Neill praise all season.
Well deserved. It's not like we're blowing smoke up his ass. Like he's been doing the things. Like Gary's been doing the things. He's got a team playing good football. All the stuff we were saying earlier in the season about Cunha, is he gonna score goals? All this kind of stuff. It's happening.
Yeah.
So if Wolves keep doing what they're doing, playing good football, having interesting players, I will literally be here to heap on the praise, man.
Yeah. And for the Villa fans that were arguing in the comments that it needs to be Emery and Emery's going to get the Champions League or Emery might win the title, whatever. If it wasn't Gary O'Neill, it would have been Emery.
It would have been
Emery. I think the only reason, for me personally, obviously you can say as well, but for me personally was that I didn't give it to Emery was because a lot of people predicted Villa to be in and around the top 7. I know obviously them being third or whatever it is, wasn't expected, and obviously there's no doubt that Emery's doing a great job there and he's overperforming. But because Wolves were predicted to go down and have an absolutely awful season, and Gary O'Neill's got him a couple points off European places, I think for that reason I had to give it to him.
No, I completely agree with you. I think manager of the season and these kind of awards almost always go to the unexpected package, and I think that's kind of why. I don't know who won manager of the season last year. I think like maybe it was Arteta.
Yeah.
But like the only reason you do that over a treble winning manager is because there is an unexpected element to it, and I think that is 100% what I give Wolves credit for. And you know, I think we would have had Villa maybe not in the top 3 at this stage of the season, but definitely as a team that would have been in sort of
top 6.
Maybe, 100%. And to be fair to Emery, if he stays in the top 3, he might just
then come the end of the season.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll do it again at the end of the season. Player of the season, manager of the season, all of those awards. We'll do that. We'll do them again. And it could well be Emery.
Yeah.
Even if he gets them Champions League, because we've both sat here and said that we don't think that's going to happen. If Emery gets them Champions League, it could definitely be him. But also starting last week was Afcon.
Yes.
After the Man United Tottenham game, I started watching the Egypt game. I think the day before, Ivory Coast opened up the tournament with a convincing win. But yeah, man, have you been watching much?
I've got to admit, I haven't been watching much yet, but I plan to get into Afcon. Afcon is one of those tournaments that is like a slow builder for me. Like the storylines need to develop early on. Who's look good, who doesn't look good. But I really do love and appreciate I don't know how to put it in the right context, but like the chaos factor that is Afcon, right in the middle of the season. All the teams want their best African players available, and all of these guys are out, in Ivory Coast.
Yeah, potentially missing four games.
Yeah. And there is that like little bit of anxiety of like you checking the reports just to make sure your player isn't injured or like your guy isn't injured or like week in, week out.
I remember that with Thomas Partey.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what I love about Afcon. It's like as much as it doesn't get love from Sky Sports and all these kind of stuff. I think as a football fan, you always, whether you want it or not, go pay attention to it, because you don't want, one, your best player to come out, and 2, if you're missing out on the Afcon storylines, you're missing out on great quality football.
Yeah.
That is right.
And also just the Afcon games are entertaining, man.
Yes.
Like whatever you want to say
about them,
they're entertaining, man. You'll see things that you haven't seen before in other tournaments, or especially not in Premier League matches.
I think it's good. Who would you sort of slightly favour? Who do you think is going to go deep into the conversation or into the tournament?
I think Ivory Coast is the host.
Yeah.
I think I have a good chance.
I actually heard that Nico Pepe had a stinker of a cameo.
I
I didn't watch the game.
I saw that Sekou Fofana.
Yeah,
he scored a banger.
Guys are talking a lot about him.
Yeah, he scored a banger for the first goal, but I only watched the first half of that game. But they look quite good. And obviously as the hosts, probably got a bit of an extra advantage. But other than that, I saw Egypt. Egypt looked a bit
dead.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people have a lot of
Senegal as well.
I would put Ivory Coast home, not as favourites. I think people have like Morocco as their favourites just because they did well in the World Cup. They got a good team. They have, all the attributes that we would take, so the tacticians and stuff to get them to the end. Yeah. But I was just telling you off camera, I think Afcon is more so won by just like willpower. And just like
the determination.
To crash the box, to get that ball, to stop the, to like.
It's like any international tournament where you're playing for your country.
Yeah.
Maybe even more so than with Afcon, because the power. I mean, Didier Drogba essentially stopped a civil war in Ivory Coast by winning Afcon and saying afterwards, I think we should stop this and it should end. And so the power of it and winning it and that opportunity to play for your nation,
it's huge, man.
Yeah,
you saw what happened with Senegal as well last year, like the streets. Filtered out, days off work. All of that kind of stuff. I was saying, did you see Cape Verde's go-ahead goal?
Yeah, in the last minute.
The defending on that. The goalkeeper, the two central defenders.
It's not looking good for Ghana, man. It's not looking good for Ghana. But yeah, also the Asia Cup started. And you talking about players getting injured. I'm following Tomiyasu.
I watched.
He didn't play the first game.
I was going to say, he watched, I watched the highlights for the first game. And he didn't play at all.
But I'm following. I'll be watching that closely.
I'm watching that very closely. I think Japan are actually going to do the thing.
But they've been putting like 4 and 5 past most teams that they've been playing.
Yeah,
coming into this tournament.
And you say that, like, I remember a friendly whenever the last international break was, and they put like 4 past Germany.
Yeah. So they knocked Germany. They went through. They were in Germany's group in the World Cup.
And
went through ahead of them. I think.
I think Japan are a force to be reckoned with for sure in football. And it'd be great for someone like Tomiyasu to get like a major.
As much as I would love to see him win it, but it would be great to see him and Japan win it.
That's funny.
And before we get into the fixtures, something Michael wanted to talk about. Obviously, we've seen a lot of rumors of guys in the Saudi league, kind of saying that they don't. Well, they're not saying that they don't want to be there, but there's a lot of rumors that they want to leave.
They're unhappy, or they're not turning up to training, or this or that.
Benzema hasn't been to training for however long. Jordan Henderson's looking to come back, and people are obviously looking at loan deals and whatnot. And for a guy like Karim Benzema, I do just have to look at it and think, for as much as he's got his professionalism, like he's spent 10 plus years at the biggest club in the world,
at the top,
winning Champions Leagues, winning La Ligas, playing in El Clasicos, the very top, scoring hat-tricks, getting them through. So for him to then go to Saudi and for people to expect the same level of dedication and commitment, of course Karim Benzema is going to say, you know what, do I need to train today?
And the money. I was thinking, do you remember when Saudi was a big buzz and we were seeing the first couple training sessions? Or even the first couple sort of highlights from the game.
That one of Gerrard.
Do you think? I think maybe a part of that comes into it. Or Ben's probably thinking, "Don't worry, guys, I'll be good for game time." Like
he doesn't need to train.
Match day, I'll be there. But I do think that, to your point, footballers' lives are interesting ones because you get paid, hundreds of millions in the case of Saudi, or hundreds of thousands for a lot of other people to be a certain type of person.
Yeah.
And it does always beg the question of how much money could somebody pay you to live in a different part of the world, a different area of the world. For people, as we were mentioning, like somebody like Jordan Henderson, Saudi, massive culture clash.
Yeah.
Massive culture clash to what he's typically used to how he's been living his life for the 34, 35 years he's been around. And that's the problem, is like, I can never blame somebody for looking at the money put down on the table and being like, what, I'm going to try and make this work.
Well, how many players or ex-players have we seen, whether it's like Gary Neville stick to football or any of the guys that come on filthy, and they always ask them, yo, Saudi come, Nah,
Yeah,
what
you're
you
gonna
saying?
do it. Rio's always said yeah.
They all of them, all Micah, Jermaine Defoe, Darren Bent. Yeah, I'll go. 2 years out there. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, it's a no-brainer,
It
and
is.
that's 4 footballers who make Premier League money.
Yeah, who are good.
And they still say, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I just think it's gonna be an interesting sort of dynamic because Saudi want to build up a sporting culture beyond just football. You know, they've got deals in everything.
Yeah,
they do the
yeah,
boxing, they
UFC,
do they do the UFC, they do the golf thing. They're obviously trying to build up a sporting culture or a sporting sort of nation or an ability to attract people to come and play top level sports there. And you know, it's always going to beg the question of how much money can you pay somebody to sort of live.
Yeah.
Well, it's not somebody to pay a lot of Europeans and a lot of people from America or wherever to go and live in a country that is completely contradictory to a lot of what they've known.
Yeah.
And they're going to be success. Ronaldo's, we haven't heard a peep.
Yeah.
You haven't heard a peep.
Yeah.
So that it's not that you know, it's like all Europeans are just gonna crash out. So it's never gonna be that. But I think it is gonna be interesting to watch Saudi try and build this up because I don't think retired or older stars is gonna be enough to form a league. And I know if you're Saudi's GM, as if they have a GM, but if you're Saudi's GM, ultimately I think the end goal for him or what he really wants is to have like some Saudi teams playing some Champions League format, or playing in some of these bigger games, and you can really start, you know, TV revenue and all of this kind of stuff, and maybe even the younger 20-year-olds are like, you know, Saudi's a legitimate option for me to go and develop as a football player. So
kind of like how some people use the MLS.
Yeah.
If you go to the MLS when you're like first coming out, when you're like 18, 19, whatever, and that's your first move to go there, play an MLS team and try and move from there. If Saudi can get people using their league as that will probably be enough.
Yeah, it would be enough to get into the conversation.
But I don't know. I can't see it.
Would you move for a blank check on the table?
Yeah, 100%.
You do your thing.
100%.
I can never look at anybody differently for trying to make that happen. I mean, can you imagine somebody like Wijnaldum or
I think most people would
like
go,
the contract that were put on the table for them.
Yeah,
he was looking at Toulouse or, you know, all these guys. He was like, yeah, I'll pay you 10 grand a week.
The only
25 grand a week.
Versus
I'll pay you 10 mil.
Yeah,
I'll pay you 20 mil. I'll pay you
tax free.
30 mil.
The only way I wouldn't go is if I was
prime of your career.
Yeah. So if I was 30 plus,
I would probably
go.
What do you think about? I was even speaking to somebody in my workplace was like,
but then again, it depends because like theoretically, if I was in Mo Salah's position, I wouldn't go.
You wouldn't?
I wouldn't go.
See, if I was
because if Liverpool had another season where they were struggling for top four, I would go. But because they're at the top of the table, have many points clear, probably going to get reinforcements, if not in January, in the summer, and build a team that can really maybe go again and compete with a manager that you know has been there, done that before, all of that. If I was in Mo Salah's position and he's 31, I think I would stay and stick around because winning another Premier League title,
it's huge.
The chance to win another Champions League,
it's huge.
I would take that over going there.
But what I would say though, if I was Salah, is unless Klopp looks me in the eyes and something shifts between Manchester City, a massive KDB leaves, or, you know, whatever, and Klopp looks me in the eyes and is like, Mo, we have a chance. Like, we have more than a chance to win the league.
Yeah.
I would consider.
I think Mo Salah believes that this season.
I think he does believe that this season. But I think it could be pretty damaging if City win it and just go and sign the best new guy out there. And then Mo is, you know, and Mo's still looking at the Endo and, you know, these guys they're not bad players. But they're not obviously the caliber that City have to play with. And then I look at what Mo's done. Mo is already, if you look at him now, he's already probably like a top 15 Premier League player of all time. Yeah.
I was gonna say the best winger ever.
You know, something like he's already in those kind of one more Prem, one more champs. So like solidifies that. He's not even, you know. So I also do think that as well. The Mo is Egyptian. He's obviously very in tune with a lot of the culture in Saudi Arabia. So it wouldn't be too much of a culture shift for him. He would go there. He would be the biggest.
Yeah, he would.
Done.
Yeah.
Blank check.
Yeah.
1 bill, 2 bill, whatever you need, we'll pay.
Mm-hmm.
Type of thing. And he doesn't have much left to prove. I think it's a lot more attractive for guys who don't have anything to prove.
Yeah.
If I had something to prove, if I was 27 and guys thought I was kind of nice and I thought I was top 10, top 15 type of player, I would stay to prove that I'm top 10, top 15. But if I had already won the Prem, won the champs, got the scoring titles, got all of this, got all of that, and somebody was to offer me 1 bill, 2 bill, I would definitely start to peep.
The only thing for someone like Salah is he'd be sacrificing the competition,
and that's the thing. How much does he love that?
Which you think a guy like Salah loves.
And I would agree with you because I remember last year he did not take the summer off. It was like the season ended and he was already on the balance ball talking about talking about.
And we've seen the way he's come back this season.
Got to get ready for next year.
Unless, and I don't think that's going to happen, but unless Mo Salah goes to Real Madrid, I think any other move he makes is downwards or a step backwards, or however you want to phrase it.
I agree.
So I think for a player like him, especially because and City will probably go in the summer and sign 3 top players, right? But because Jurgen Klopp's there, Virgil van Dijk's there, Trent's there, they've got these guys coming in. I think Mo Salah might look here and say, if Liverpool sign 1 or 2 good players in the transfer window, especially a holding midfielder, he'll know that squad and that manager have beaten Pep and his team before, ability, right? And even if they don't win the Premier League, they'll have a very good chance in Champions League again. We know what Anfield's like. We've Arsene Wenger.
You know, if Aston Villa pipped them to the top 4.
I'm joking. Yeah.
But the last thing actually I will say on this is I'm already seeing like the whole Benz to Arsenal. Would you take Benz at Arsenal? Would you take any Saudi player? I
would take Benzema.
You take Benz at Arsenal?
100%.
What?
100%. What? You didn't even need to ask me that question, bro. Benzema on a 6-month loan.
On a 6-month loan.
Come and win the league.
I could finish second and watch Ben score 5 goals for Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah.
And just have...
I could finish 4th. But if we've seen Benz play for Arsenal for 6 months, then cool.
I feel you.
For that one goal at Old Trafford.
Sits 2 defenders down.
At the Etihad. Wherever it is.
Sits 2 defenders down. Yeah.
He's left Diaz on the floor.
The Penenka penalty in crunch time. Yeah, I'm there for it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we'll move on. We'll move on and we'll get cracking with the Premier League game. So on Friday night, massive 6-pointer, Burnley versus Luton. And Burnley took the lead. Again, like I watched Burnley, they play good football.
Yeah.
Right. They play good football. But as soon as they took the lead, I knew they're not going to win this game. And the only way they will win this game is if they score again, because they will concede. Yeah. And it didn't come till like the 90th minute.
90 plus 2.
And it came in the most Burnley way. Yeah. James Trafford got bodied by Adebayo, and Carlton Morris had a free header. And it just is what it is, man. That's just what Burnley do. To be fair though, to me, that was a foul.
Yeah.
So I can see Company's frustration after the game, because to me, Adebayo has knocked into him.
He has.
Trafford's gone down.
And keepers are protected.
Yeah, Trafford's gone down.
We've seen less.
Yeah.
Remember all the Ben Whites? Remember when Ben White used to be on Call of Duty with the keeper thing?
Yeah. And he held his hand or something.
An arm on the keeper, or a hand on the keeper, and it's a foul type of thing. So I agree with you in the sense that it kind of is a foul, but I also I can't stand Burnley. I can't stand the we show promise, we fail.
Yeah.
It's just been on repeat.
Yeah.
From the day one of the season. From day one of the season, it's been on repeat of we'll play good football, we'll create chances, you won't take them.
Didn't you say last week we need to have a Trafford and Foderingham watch?
Yeah. Is that bad?
Now Foderingham didn't even play this week.
It's that bad. They won't, I think for Burnley now, I think they'll go down, but I think for them it's about putting up a fight to stay in the league. Make it one of them ones where it's coming down to the final 3 weeks. People are thinking about Burnley need points, final couple game weeks. They don't want to slip up at Burnley, that kind of stuff. You need to be in them kind of
make it
a fight. You just gotta make it a relegation fight. I probably have no doubt that Burnley will probably come up next year.
Yeah.
But show some fight this year. show some principles of what you're going to be doing beyond just the like we want to play up the back, we want to play expansive football because company. I guess he's learned this lesson of like coming up and playing expansive football in the Premier League is great in theory unless you have the players, unless you have the quality, unless you have maybe even the patience to do it, and all of that doesn't matter if you're not rigid defensively. Like you can have the players, you can have the patience, you can have the quality, but unless you're not, unless you're rigid defensively and you're not giving up these kind of cheap goals, waiting on the ref to blow the whistle, all of this kind of stuff, you will go down.
Yeah,
teams.
Because I would say Burnley are a better team than Sheffield.
Yeah,
but if that was Sheffield at home at Bramall Lane, 1-0 up in injury time, a couple minutes to go, I'm pretty sure Sheffield, unless Fotheringham threw one in his own net, they would win that game.
Yeah, you see it out.
Just purely off like defensive principles, passion, 5 at the back, run around, make a difference. Like,
and look, it's tough because I don't want to get onto company too much because
no, but I think we need to.
Ultimately, I think company doesn't have the quality to stay in the Premier League. Like I look at Everton who are in 17th, is it just above the relegation zone? And it's like they have players like Onana, they have a DCL, they have a Pickford in goal,
Tarkowski.
They have a Tarkowski. Even this Braithwaite guy is nice. They have a mixture of old people that have been there, done that, to have the quality, and new guys who are up and coming that are trying to make a name for themselves, that are also trying to show they have the quality. And Burnley don't even really have that.
Yeah, they don't, which is why I don't think he'll get sacked.
That's what I'm saying. They know they haven't done enough to invest in him to do his thing, but even with that said, it's similar to my Højlund thing. Obviously, we'll come on to him, but like, show me something out of nothing. So, company, I know you don't have much to work with. I know. But show me one of them something out of nothing performances, a 90-minute performance rather than a 60-minute or a 50-minute or a 60, 70-minute. You playing well, but ending up losing or ending up drawing games you should win. Show me for full 90 minutes, this is what we have in store for the Premier League when we come back, or this is me as a manager, or this is me making something out of nothing. Imagine if I got a better player than whoever I have in midfield, centre-back, strike. And I'm not seeing enough of that from Vincent. I know Vincent can set up a team to play good football, attractive football. But that's all I know about Vincent in the Premier League. I know he can't set up a team to play any sort of winning football or any sort of like, let's get points on the board type football.
I think you're right there, because it is hard to obviously say like, company should change things and company needs to be doing this and needs to be doing that, needs to be getting results. Like, ultimately, and I said this from early in the season, company can't go to a flat 4-4-2, like sit deep on the count. He can't go to that because, one, he probably won't want to coach that and probably find it hard, and the players won't be able
to do it. To switch up just like that.
There's no way
Low
those players will be able to sit in a low block against a half decent team and keep them out, because Burnley's best attributes are actually going forward. But I think for both those teams, I think it's going to be sticky. But it was obviously a decent point for Luton. Keep them in amongst it,
away from home.
And Burnley don't get the 3 points.
You just keep on moving forward. Burnley don't get closer or as close as they should do. You keep on moving forward.
If they can get another top wing back, like they've got that Alfie Doughty on one side who can put in a great ball, dead ball. If they can get another wing back on the other side, Adebayo might end with 15 league goals.
Serious, for real.
Like
his leap alone. That's what I'm saying.
It could be big. But we'll move on from that game. Obviously, that ended 1-1. To the Saturday lunchtime game, which was Chelsea versus Fulham. 3 wins on the bounce, 3 league wins on the bounce for Chelsea.
That's massive.
And both you and Armand told me that they wouldn't have 4 in the season.
So
and the next game, Liverpool at Anfield.
Okay, they're not coming up with 3 points in that.
Who knows, man?
You can't put it past them. But what I will say is,
they're climbing, man. When you check the tape, they're above Newcastle.
3 wins,
1 point behind Man United.
I think no team other than like Arsenal a couple of years ago showed me how important 3 Premier League wins in a row is. Like, it can not just change your league position, it can drastically change your league position. Like, there are not that many teams in the Premier League that can win 3 games in a row. So for Chelsea to do it is huge. It's massive. I think they deserve a lot of credit and respect. I think Poch, has like he's just shown enough. Like there were questions and murmurs about whether Pot should go. Nah, keep him, let him build, let him do his thing with this team. I think there is a lot of standout. Cole Palmer, all of these guys that are performing very well. Poch is still dealing with injuries and Cuckoo's out again.
Yeah,
All of this kind of stuff. Yeah. So I do really, really want to give Chelsea some credit for climbing up the table and putting together, and I think they will put together a decent second half of the season.
Yeah,
like towards the back end.
Obviously last week. If you haven't seen last week's video, we did our mid-season awards and predictions. Go check that out. But I predicted Chelsea to finish in the top 4.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I predicted them to finish 4th. And if they can have a good second half of the season, man, they can climb. I think at the moment they might be 9 points off Tottenham.
Yeah, I'm just about to check.
But they still got to play Tottenham at Stamford Bridge. They still got to play. I think Newcastle still have to come to Stamford Bridge. And I think Chelsea could do well in the second half of the season. And one guy in particular that we should talk about, you've already mentioned him. We gave him Young Player of the Season last year. And Bat actually responded to us. Did you see that on the chat?
I saw that.
He said he's still a prick though. But yeah, watching that game, Cole Palmer is just playing the way he's playing right now. Some of the touches, the turns.
I did not think Cole Palmer would have the goals and assists that he has. I know a lot of them are penalties and all this kind of stuff, but for him to be this influential on a young Chelsea team and to sort of already have cemented his place and needing to start week in, week out kind of thing, I just think we said it a million times in this pod, but huge kudos, massive credit for leaving leaving City. And it's not even just about leaving City, as much as that deserves a lot of credit. It's about leaving City and performing and showing why you wanted game time.
And it's also different from the Anthony Elanga one that we often talk about, because Elanga left Man United and he went to Nottingham Forest.
Yeah,
Cole Palmer went to Chelsea, who another big club. There's going to be pressure on him. There's pressure on Chelsea to succeed, to win trophies, to do certain things, and he's rising to it.
He's
one of the few players that actually is. And away from the goals and assists, just watching that 90 minutes, some of the turns, some of the like way he takes the ball in tight spaces, like he is just a very, very good player. And like definitely could be, especially with the way he takes pens, could definitely be in a chance with going to the England squad for the Euros in the summer.
Yeah, I mean he will have a chance.
He carries on playing like this.
I don't think he will actually be picked, but I think he has a chance. And the pen thing, I think, is kind of irrelevant because Kane's on pens.
No, but as in a shootout.
In a shootout and all the rest. No, I do hear that.
And also, we know what Kane did
under pressure
in the World Cup. So, whereas Cole Palmer's taking them under a big pressure.
There's absolutely
who knows about that one? But
there's absolutely no way they give Cole Palmer any. As much as I think Cole would bury it, I don't think they're ever going to give him a pressure penalty.
Yeah. No, obviously
to save him from the Bukayo sort of.
Yeah. But even in the squad, man, he could be a valuable. Look at the way Rashford's playing. Rashford's gonna go.
Yeah, Rashford's gonna go.
Sterling's doing all right, but you'd have to say Cole Palmer's probably playing better than him at the minute.
Yeah. There is a chance. Because my biggest problem with the England selection is there is a political factor or a marketing factor that you have to sort of factor into it, and he is climbing in those. He is. He's becoming a marketable guy.
I can definitely see him being one of the Southgate's favourites.
Yeah, but now it's like, would you take him ahead of Jared Bowen? Would you take him ahead of, like, if Cole Palmer's getting in, Jared Bowen has to be in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way Jared Bowen is playing at the minute, I would say he has to be in there.
What? He has to be in there. But if Jared Bowen is on the fringes, then it's like, well, we can't even really discuss whether or not Cole Palmer should be in there. But I think what was big for Chelsea as well was the clean sheet.
Yeah.
And I know Fulham, they were right. I think they hit the crossbar once or twice.
Second half, they livened up a bit.
But I think that is going to give them a lot of confidence, because I don't know where Gusto started. I don't know if Gusto
He started at right back.
Yeah, and then he moved to left back at some point in the game, and then Chilwell came on, and so there's still good stuff to figure out between who's going to be the starting centre back. With Thiago Silva. But they've done enough to get over the line, and 3 wins on a bounce is nothing to sniff at, man. And not conceding at Fulham. Oh, sorry, I know Chelsea have been poor at home, so not conceding to Fulham at home, you'll take it.
Yeah.
Chelsea fans will take it.
The thing for Chelsea now, and the thing that Chelsea fans will want to see is they want to see their team kick on. So obviously they've got Liverpool in their next, but I think before that they play Middlesbrough in the second round, in the second leg of their cup tie, which is a must-win for Poch because he can't go out of the semi-finals to Middlesbrough at a club like Chelsea. So he has to get through that tie.
That's been Chelsea's issue.
Yeah,
all
it has
season.
Been. It has
all
been.
season is like you show progress, you draw versus City, you lose the next game.
But that will really like
it will be
a nail in the coffin for some of the Chelsea fans if they get knocked out by Middlesbrough and Middlesbrough go to a final with Liverpool or something. But in terms of when now they go to Anfield, that'd be a good test for them. Something that I think Chelsea fans should look forward to. See how your team performs in that game.
I think one thing that not has to be mentioned, but should be mentioned is I thought Enzo played well.
He did play well.
Pinging the ball around. You know what I realized about Enzo? He's just a younger Jorginho. Like he's good on the ball. He's got the ping. He's got the vision. He's got the this. He's got the that.
Yeah.
But off the ball in transitions, whenever they don't have it.
I think when I watch him, I can see a lot of. And again, I'll say he's not anywhere close to the level at the minute, but I can see a lot of Granit Xhaka.
You think?
Yeah.
He's got the penetrative passes.
Yeah.
But I think Xhaka was I think he was good defensively. And not Enzo's. It's not that he's not as bad as.
But I would say Jorginho is pretty like in terms of awareness of the space.
Jorginho's awareness of the space is great. His positioning is great. Yeah. But you can run past Enzo. You can run past Jorginho.
I mean, until the last season of Xhaka, you could run past him.
Yeah, when he's a 6.
Yeah.
So I know, but I was just saying like
that's why I'm not sure Enzo is a 6.
Yeah, he's not a 6.
Yeah,
he's not a 6. But there is just a clear and stark difference when he's in possession.
Yeah,
and when he doesn't have possession in terms of what he knows he has to do.
Yeah,
and like when he has the ball, he can play any type of ball.
Yeah,
the diag he can do, the short fizzed along the ground. He's got it all in his locker. But the only question marks I have over him is literally just like, who are you?
You're gonna like if you're gonna play as a number 8 in this league.
Yeah,
you need more than that.
Yeah, like who are you when Chelsea don't have the ball? Yeah. Who are you when
you can't be a passenger
in transition and all of this kind of stuff? But he's proper tidy.
Yeah,
he's proper tidy on the ball, and he was playing some brilliant passes and doing a lot of great stuff. So I want to give him his credit because I know he gets a lot of
he does get a lot of hate.
Yeah, he gets a lot of hate. So
John Joe.
Yeah,
all of it. Yeah,
might as well
but he did play well. He did play well. But moving on from that game, and in the same week that Love Island All Stars started, we had an All Star return. I was landing that one up.
Oh man,
we had an all-star return for Manchester City. Kevin De Bruyne is back, but we will get onto Kevin De Bruyne. He will have his time on the show. Before we go there, we'll talk about the game a bit in general. And Newcastle started lively, obviously crowd behind them and stuff. But what a way to silence St. James's, man! What a goal from Bernardo.
Hey, in my FPL.
Yeah, smart transfer. And you brought in De Bruyne.
And I brought in De Bruyne.
Which, when I saw him benched, I was like...
But I know
I told this guy.
I know it only takes 20 minutes for KDB. I know it only takes...
Bruno shagged me.
Yeah.
Differently. Because I even messaged Michael and I was like, I really want to bring in Rash.
You should have. I know. Yeah. And I was even the one who suggested Bruno. I'll take that L. I thought about bringing Bruno in. But I just have this like I can't trust United players. I can't trust United. But I knew they were gonna score goals in this Tottenham game. I just didn't know who it was gonna be, and I thought there'd be a pen in it because it's anyway. But for the Man City thing,
the Bernardo
goal. I mean,
talk about silencing an atmosphere.
A lot of respect to Kyle Walker as well.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it was good. But I mean,
we'll get on to
Bernardo. Bernardo has everything to do.
Bernardo has everything to do, but I just think Kyle Walker, for starting every game that he started, chipping in, doing his thing.
Captain now.
Obviously, I didn't actually know until one of my co-workers told me. I didn't actually know anything about his like extracurricular activities outside of football. But
he came out with a statement the other day.
Yeah. But yeah, the Bernardo Silva goal, it's the kind of quality that he has. You know, it's definitely the kind of quality that he has and beyond. And he wasn't even really having a bad game before he came off for KDB. But I think from a Newcastle perspective, I, as a non-Newcastle fan, I'm so tired of seeing Lewis Smiley and and like the same starting. And I know you got injuries.
Mm-hmm.
I know you've got guys who are out.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's like niggles and all of this and all of that.
Yeah.
But it's been the same XI for like 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks now.
And it's the same old story, man. In the post 50 minutes, those 11, because there's never any substitutions.
They've got nothing left.
Again, maybe Eddie Howe doesn't have the strength on the bench to make any, especially in a game like that. But they're gassed, man.
They're gassed.
It was just a training match in the second half, especially. But I mean, in the first half, they obviously scored 2 goals, came back in the lead.
Goals.
Brilliant goals.
Great
Isak's
goals.
finish was cold.
It's super serious, man. Like I was just looking at it and I was like, yo, he's outscored Jesus every year he's been in the league. Even in that period, he came in Jan, he scored 10 goals by May. You know, he's got 10 goals already or something at this point. He can play off the last shoulder of the man. He's tall enough to be sort of the deep block kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's got the silky ability. He's got the finishing ability. He's got the dribbling ability. He's young.
I still have question marks over Isak.
I don't think he's going to go on to be sort of a consistent 20 goal a season striker, but he's shown to be worth buying the release clause for.
Like, I wouldn't. Look, he's a good player, so I'd be happy to see him at Arsenal, but I wouldn't go for him over an Ivan Toney.
Ivan Toney's. I would say Toney is a more proven and a better player, and there's a lot less risk with the Toney deal. But I don't think that there is much, and I think for Arteta as well, Isak can do the press thing.
Yeah.
He can do the whole.
I think Toney can press though.
I think Toney can press, but I think Toney also has an arrogance of, look, I'm a 20 goal a season striker. You know, I know my team.
But ultimately, whoever you bring in isn't going to press as well as Jesus,
guaranteed, and we don't need them to.
So that's going to be.
And we don't need them to.
Be the sacrifice you make. But my thing with Isak is, and I rate Isak. I think Isak's a good striker, but I just see a lot of Aubameyang
in him.
In Isak, right? And I love Aubameyang.
I kind of get that. I kind of get that.
For the time that Aubameyang was at Arsenal, he scored great goals. He won us a trophy single-handedly. For me, there was definitely a point where he was a better striker than Harry Kane. Because if Harry Kane could match those levels, he would have won a trophy for Tottenham.
Yeah.
Aubameyang scored twice in the semi-final, twice in the final. But that's conversation for now. My point here is that Aubameyang scored goals. He won golden boots. I think Isak has the capacity to do that. But we were never more frustrated with anyone than we were with Aubameyang.
Yeah. No, I get it.
He had his back to play and he needed to hold up the ball.
And he couldn't.
And he needed to take some of the pressure away in a big stadium, wherever you go, and the defender's on his back. And I don't know if Isak has that. So I would see the similar sort of thing. I think like when the ball comes into him, he's getting bullied. He's getting dominated.
No. I think you made a great point. I think Tony's hold-up play is better than Isak's, hands down.
Yeah.
And Tony can bring more people into play and can get more guys involved. I think the interesting thing with Isak is what could he be? He's young. He's got, as I said, he's got the legs, he's got the dribbling ability, he's got the finishing ability, it seems.
Yeah. All of that, I don't question.
He's, I'm
one-on-one, he's probably more cold than Ivan Toney.
I've seen Isak shake up some guys. VVD and all these kind of guys where it's I didn't think you had this in your game. And when you was coming into the league, I wasn't expecting you to be turning VVD inside out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he's shown enough, and I think, obviously a lot of Arsenal fans are saying that, we missed out on Isak, At the time, we didn't. Like, we were just reeling off the Pepe hate.
Yeah.
We was getting pellets week in, week out about Nicolas Pepe.
Yeah.
And Arsenal could not spend another 75 million on an unproven player.
Yeah.
So I hear it.
Who'd had 4 appearances or something in La Liga that season.
He scored 10 goals once in the season before, been injured, and then so it was like, I hear why Arsenal.
The thing is, even now, I don't like, if I said to you, well, you could swap Jesus for Isak right now, would you? For the second half of the season, we could have Isak.
Right, for the second half of the season, I might just.
And you'd get rid of Jesus. This is permanent though. So it happens for the second half of the season, but it's a permanent thing.
But the thing is, I'm unhappy only with Jesus's goal scoring ability.
Yeah.
Everything else, I have zero complaints about.
Yeah.
He turns up every week. He trains hard. He plays hard. He gives it all for the badge. there is he's not petulant. He's a good guy to have around. He brings the best out of other players. I just need him to score a few more goals in crunch time.
Which I mean, he did score goals last season in the running.
No, he didn't, and that's the thing. I think if you give a fully fit Jesus games, he will get goals.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm saying is now that like that finish that Isak showed yesterday. This is on Kyle Walker.
Yeah. I don't think Jesus will ever do that.
This is on Kyle Walker. This is on Kyle Walker.
No, the thing with Isak, like I said, his finishing ability, 100%, all of that stuff. But I personally wouldn't swap them because I know that if we go to Old Trafford, if we go away to Tottenham, if we go away to Man City, and the pressure's coming and it's coming and it's coming, and we need an out ball.
Yeah, Jesus is there.
Not even that Jesus is like his hold up's good, but not like he's this mad guy. But he'll give us more. He'll run the channels.
I was gonna say,
he'll do more.
The thing about Jesus
is what I think Isak would do.
I agree with you on that. Because the thing about Jesus
is very Isak and Aubameyang, Jesus and Lacazette.
Yeah. Because the thing I say about Jesus is those balls in the channel that he won't give up on, that he'll make something out of nothing.
Winner foul.
Yeah, the winner foul stuff. Like you can have a 6'6" defender. Jesus will take the ball on his chest, bring it down, get the foul. Yeah. And I feel like if Isak isn't scoring goals, it's not that he's invisible in the game, but he's not as visible.
That's the thing
in the game as Jesus. Jesus in games that he doesn't
remember how
score,
much that used to frustrate us.
Yeah, I know. Jesus in games that he doesn't score is still very visible, as we say.
Yeah.
Harry's defenders, sets the press team.
Might go past one or two players.
And Jesus, remember Jesus when he came last season? Yeah. Those first sort of 3 months, 4 months before
I haven't
he got injured.
seen Isak play at that level. Not in this.
Jesus' dribbling, he was turning guys inside out. There was
nuts.
There was like three players in the box within 5 yards of each other, and Jesus still was not making guys. Had guys falling over, but he just didn't finish. And that's the only difference is I think with where they are right now is like Isak has that confidence in front of goal of I need one chance, one ball in behind,
and the finish is emphatic. It's just wrapped straight in. But that's where I think Ivan Toney's the best mix.
I agree. And I think Ivan Toney is the best. Jesus is not working. Calm.
Yeah,
Toney,
because you might sacrifice maybe some of the goal scoring ability that you would get with Isak by getting Toney, but you wouldn't sacrifice as much in the hold up play
and all that bringing people into play. Odegaard, and I still think Toney could be a one shot, one goal kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like I have one chance, and I'm just here to bury it.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad at Isak or Toney, and I think Isak will probably be double the price, considering he's moved for 75M.
Yeah, he's younger.
He's not gonna. He's probably on a long contract. All of this kind of stuff. But yeah, I say that to say that I'm just very impressed with Isak because he was an unknown package at the time.
Yeah.
At the time he was an unknown package, and he's shown for a season and a half that I can score goals. And he's still competing with Wilson.
Yep.
He's getting a lot of game time and lion's share of the fixtures and all this kind of stuff at times. So I just give him a lot of credit and a lot of praise because he is a first timer to the Premier League.
Yeah. He deserves that. He deserves it. And another guy,
Aaron Gordon.
Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon.
Aaron Gordon's a basketball player.
We need to give it because I think that's Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, and Man City. He scored against all of them at St. James.
But the finish is equally as cold.
All of them.
It's equally as cold.
I think that's a better goal.
You think?
Yeah.
You know what?
I think he's at a tighter angle. He basically did what Michael Elise did against Luton.
No.
You gave Michael Elise goal in the season for.
There's a massive difference.
Yeah. The difference is he's beating Kyle Walker.
No. Michael Elise picks up the ball on the halfway line. First of all, beats him at 1-for-1 for pace. And it's not even that he beats him for pace. It's a straight on race. It's a foot race. From the exact same position, dusting him.
Gordon's picked it up quite deep.
No, Burns giving him a great delicious pass.
Yeah, and then he's run with it.
What I will say
he stood
is,
up Kyle Walker.
No, I think Isak scores a little bit better for how he stands up Kyle Walker. Like Gordon had no other choice, not no other choice, but he did. He's done very well.
I think it's harder for Gordon to do it.
He's done very well to stand up Kyle Walker. And he's done very well to finish it.
The finish is harder.
I somewhat expected that from Gordon. Like, I know you have this in your locker. That's your move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My thing with Isak was that I was like, what are you really going to do here? And he stood up Kyle Walker and he buried it. And there's a minor difference in the finish. Gordon's goes bottom corner-ish. And Isak goes bins. Isak goes
bins. I think Isak's one, he's also got more time. And Kyle Walker has also kind of like stood off him a bit.
A bit, yeah.
I think with Gordon's
Kyle Walker
one,
wasn't expecting that with Isak.
Yeah. I think with Gordon's one, the angle he's coming at, to even have the balls to go, like, yeah, Kyle Walker, let's have it. Like, I'll cut inside. And then the way he's bent it
He's whipped it nice. But
both great goals.
Do you think that he's only done it because he's seen Isak do it a second before and he's thought, oh,
I think the crowd's up because obviously the goals came within like 3 minutes, right? I've seen it before at the Emirates when like one goes in and then the ball goes down the line and it could be Thomas Rosicky who just comes in and just slaps one in and then the crowd goes mental again. Do you remember when we played Liverpool?
Yeah.
That game we were 2-0 down, Alexis Sanchez scores the header and then the ball comes to Granit Xhaka like 30 yards out and he just slaps it. Bit of swaz on it, Mignolet's floppy wrists, and it just goes flying in. I think the crowd was up, and Gordon thought, "Yeah, let me just get a shot."
Yeah, another game I think of. I was seeing these highlights the other day was Jack Wilshere's goal versus Man City. It's not quite from long distance when he thinks
the chip one.
Yeah, when he chips one. But he was 1-0 down.
Yeah,
or he was one.
We were 1-0 down.
Yeah, and then or it was 1-1 or something, and then. You just kind of, when one goes in, you're expecting all.
Yeah. And then Sanchez scored that volley.
Yeah, then Sanchez scores the volley.
And then, but obviously Newcastle went 2-1 in front. And then the second half, obviously Kevin De Bruyne comes on and we will talk about him. But before that, for his goal, the pass from Rodri takes 3 players out of the game.
It's crazy.
He's taken Newcastle's whole midfield out of the game.
Rodri
with one outside the foot little pass through to KDB.
Rodri might be apart from maybe KDB and like maybe Thiago Alcantara, but he hasn't played this season. Like the best short passer. It's not in the final third stuff, but everybody knows you press Rodri. That's how you suffocate. That's how you stop the attack.
Yeah, but you can't press Rodri.
But like there'll be 3 guys pressing Rodri.
Yeah.
And he, I don't know, he takes the ball on his back foot and like dinks, plays it around the corner, dinks it to somebody else. And it's like, there's even certain passes in build up where I'm like, surely Rodri doesn't want it here.
Yeah.
And he'll play the first time, like, side foot pass to the left back or the right back or wherever it is. So I legitimately think that he could be one of the best short passes in the league. Like those 5 yards zipped straight into you, dinked straight into you.
But I mean, even the first goal comes from, and I always talk to you about this pass, that clip ping.
Yeah, but that's bread and butter.
And then
that's bread and butter. So
and every time it's on Walker's foot.
Yeah,
Walker doesn't break stride. It's every time that's just a perfect pass.
But I think,
Kevin De Bruyne.
I think KDB deserves. He gets a lot of love. He gets a lot of love anyway. But I like, there isn't much you can say about the fact that a guy who the Premier League is anticipating to come back and do big things comes back and does big things in the first 5 minutes of him coming back.
That's real star quality.
And it's not even like it's a tap in 5 yards out or whatever. He's taken the mantelpiece. And I also want to say that Foden wasn't having a bad game. Bernardo Silva wasn't having a bad game. Yeah. I saw Foden, take the ball in tight spaces, want the ball a lot, do all of the stuff that you expect of Foden. Give it go, be legs in midfield. But there is a certain picture that KDB sees way before anybody else sees it. And the way the ball just like trickles along the floor.
Yeah, there's also things that KDB can do to those guys for as good as they are, for as world class as they might be.
He takes that shot on his right foot. Why? Like you'd be thinking,
just passed it into the net.
You'd be thinking from that angle, maybe a left foot, like I'm gonna put my foot through it. Really, just fucking.
If that's not in the side netting, it's an easy save for the grab. But I mean, we've sat on this podcast. For anyone who's been watching frequently, we haven't even need to see KDB kick a ball.
Yeah,
to say that he's the best player in the Premier League.
No, he is.
He is going to make the difference when he comes back. Obviously, a lot of people. And they will do, because we haven't even then the assist, the ball over to Oscar Bob with a nice little shimmy and goal, and then they win the game. Like that is just KDB. That is just the star quality. That is just. I remember when we lost to Aston Villa, and Martin Odegaard had those 2 chances.
Yeah,
and I love Martin Odegaard, but that's the difference.
Enough said.
That's the difference. Right?
That is literally the difference.
Like KDB can come on in that game,
20 minutes,
like.
Decided.
He's only played 10 minutes against Huddersfield the week before. Just come back from long-term injury. Comes back and scores that goal. at St. James's, makes it 2-2, and then provides the winner. That's the difference.
And we said it a couple of weeks ago about like KDB he's not coming back to play football in the sense of like he's here to worry about his pass accuracy stats or his distance run or presses or all these other stats that they hype other players about. It's like Nunes, distance run or dribbled past X. KDB is here to be a GA man, to be decisive, to play the ball that ultimately kills the game. And that's all he's coming back to do. And that's all, not that he should be judged on, he's done enough, but that's him. That's his MO now. That's what Pep's drilling into him. It's a lot less of like, come and be the Mr. Man of everything, come and do it all in midfield, have all sort of two elements of your game on both sides of the ball, press, do this, do that. Pep will still get onto him for that.
Yeah.
But Pep knows if I'm putting KDB out there, I'm expecting these goal and assists, these decisive plays.
Well, even Pep's
post-match.
Presser after the match, like for anyone getting onto Arteta, Pep, probably the greatest manager ever in the Premier League, maybe greatest manager ever, full stop, has come out and said in the final third, it's not about tactics. It's about talent.
100.
Right? So
100. Arteta has coached a lot of 3-4-0 wins in the last couple
of chances that we have.
Liverpool.
We just spoke about that Martin Odegaard one at Villa. Right? Like, that's in the final third, you just need the talent and the guys who are just going to put it away. Right, which unfortunately at this current moment, Arsenal haven't had that, so to speak, as much as they did last year. But I think that was just that, like Pep bringing him on and Pep just kind of basically saying to him, like, go and win the game.
It's crazy.
And it took him 4 minutes from coming.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying about these kind of like.
And the boost it probably gives all the other Man City players on the pitch when they see.
How many times now from the end of the season do you think Oscar Bob's going to make that run? Or like whenever he comes on. And I was going to say a little thing on Oscar Bob, and all, maybe even Rico Lewis, all these Pep guys. I think it's very interesting because we see Oscar Bob as this like, young talent, unproven, is obviously very nice, is obviously very tidy. But I want to make no mistake, like if Oscar Bob was playing for Nottingham Forest or he'd be a franchise player.
Yeah.
He'd
be the star boy.
Yeah, he'd be the Cole Palmer. He'd be the guy that we're talking about on some like, oh, this kid has so much potential and ability and talent, and what can he do at Manchester City? And I'm only saying that not because I'm like, I've been watching Oscar Bob's under 23s and all this kind of stuff. I'm saying that for Pep to even give him a chance, he came on before Grealish on the 55th minute and all this kind of stuff.
He's played quite a few minutes this year. I don't know how many games he started. He started the Huddersfield game, I think. Did all right, but I mean, for any young player to come in and have that impact, that stadium, that situation,
I think that these are real, like Oscar Bob. If he was to go to any other club, even in Europe, he'd be having like the Xavi Simons type season. Whereas like everybody will be talking about him. Who's this kid? Who's this guy? What are his goals and assists? Where is he gonna go in the summer? Type of thing.
I agree.
And that is also to add to the brilliance of Pep. I think Pep was talking about his second in control. I can't even pronounce his name. It's like TXI. Pep was just like, he came to him at the beginning of the season and said, "Yo, Oscar should be training with us this year." And Pep was like, "All right, I'll let him train." And this is where he is now. And that's just another one off the carousel.
Literally, they seem to be producing them frequently at the minute, but. On KDB, a lot of people having this discussion now, and I will say that you guys are late to the discussion because me and Michael had this discussion back in May. I remember when we were going to Rouse, and we spoke about, obviously at that point Arsenal had kind of fallen off and City had kind of come through. And KDB was doing what KDB usually does come clutch time. And I said to Michael, I was like, I think he's the best. Do you remember when we sat in the pub? I was like, I think he is the best Premier League midfielder ever. I said that in May last year. And I think, like I tweeted, man, I was like, KDB is too funny, man. Like he's actually going to come back and do it again.
Yeah, that's it's not even the problem. It's kind of who he is. I think he is the best. I think the only thing
you think he's number one, Gerrard, Lampard,
I think the only thing
Vieira, Keane.
The only thing stopping him or holding it back is the fact that he's still playing for people to be like, yeah, he's the best. But once he stops playing, and once you look back at what he's done, even if he stopped playing today and didn't win the Premier League this season, he's got 4. He's got Champions League. He's got the FA Cups. He's got the Carling Cups. He's got top 3 assists in the Premier League. He's gonna get 1 more assist to like guarantee himself in there.
This is gonna be what, 6 prems, 7 prems,
something like that. And there is. Think about the guys you want to put ahead of him: the Gerrards, the Lampards, the Scholeses, the whoever's,
the Granit Xhakas.
Yeah, like ask yourself, what really is in Gerrard's game that isn't in KDB's game? He's got the long ball, he's got the short ball, he's got the goals, he's got the assists. He doesn't take penalties. He's got the trophies. He's got the PMP. He he's got the signature move. He's got whatever you want from a best of all time caliber player. KDB's he's got it. He's done it. He's proven
it's
it.
The clutch time moment.
Year on year. I was saying to you, it's like even the Champions League runs where they didn't win the title. KDB was still the guy scoring in the quarterfinals, the semifinals. Like you'll watch a random KDB clip on Twitter and be like, oh yeah, I forgot he scored. A brace, but the
KDB comms are always worth a watch.
Like
always,
there's a lot of goals and assists and stuff that you forgot that he did, or you're just so accustomed to him doing it, that you're like, oh yeah, well that's just what he does.
There's so many match winners,
like
game defining moments, season defining moments.
Super.
I think he is the best.
But I for sure I have no issues with anybody putting KDB in their best Premier League midfield. I just don't think that really, if you're really being honest with yourself, there is going to be a lot of great Premier League midfield combinations.
Yeah.
But nobody should ever sniff at KDB being in any one of them. Ever. Ahead of anybody. Lampard, Gerrard, Scholes.
I think you should sniff if KDB isn't in it, to be fair.
And if you was as a manager trying to put it all together, why would you not want him, or why would you even want anybody else ahead of him? He's done. He kind of is the perfect combination of Gerrard and Lampard.
Yeah,
he's got the G's and the A's. He can play from deep. He can play up top. He can,
and probably Paul Scholes.
Yeah,
he's probably got the best attributes of all 3 of them.
There is, from a midfielder, there is everything you want in there.
Yeah.
And in abundance, and at top quality, and at match pace.
And there's no doubt as he gets older, he will become the deep line playmaker. He will have that transition. He will do that, and he'll ball out.
We'll start seeing 60-yard pings straight onto Haaland's head, and the Fabregas thing.
Yeah. Even Gerrard did it later on in his career, went deeper. But yeah, man, I think that was just KDB coming back and literally saying all it needed was for him to go to the camera and take Estupinian celebration. But we'll move on. Sunday's game, Everton versus Aston Villa. 0-0.
Emery's first 0-0.
I saw that stat. Everton played well in that game, man. I think obviously they kept a clean sheet. You're still getting lucky with your Pickford points.
9 clean points.
Nuts. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, that chance.
You won't get a better chance than that all season.
If you're a striker?
You will not get a better chance than that all season. Guaranteed. Middle of the goal, right?
I'd rather you put it wide.
Yeah.
I'd rather you put it wide and get your angles wrong.
Trying to go for a corner.
Yeah. Than straight at the keeper, straight through on goal.
You've got a whole goal to aim at.
Yeah.
You can go left.
Bread and butter.
You can go right. All you got to do is lift it slightly over the keeper's foot.
If you're not practicing those in training, I don't know what you're doing.
You won't get an easier chance than that.
I don't know what you're doing.
You won't.
But I think we spoke on this about Villa's away form, and Villa were kind of
They did all right.
They did all right. They scored. They scored a goal. It was offside. It was a great goal from Moreno. And they were there. They were in the game. For sure, but I think it is big kudos to Everton for holding on, for keeping things ticking, for picking up the points, and
I think a draw was probably a fair result there.
I do think a draw was probably a fair result, but I just think that this away form, it will be the downfall of Villa. This isn't like a damaging loss or draw by any measure because it's Everton away, but if you want to end up in the top 3, if you want to end up in the top 4, The 3 points here are huge, especially when you have the quality to beat Everton.
Yeah, your away form's going to need to pick up if you're going to want to make that.
Yeah, 100.
But yeah, one guy who actually came on as a sub, John Duran.
Yeah,
he looks like he might be serious, man.
He's made a couple of good sub
that
appearances.
one flick he had from the cross. Boy, if he had scored that, I would have been saying we should get him over Ivan Toney. That would have been a ridiculous goal.
No, Duran has made a couple of good sub appearances, and he's a good guy. I mean,
he looks like he's got all the facilities to succeed.
Yeah. He is who I think Everton think better with.
Yeah. I can see that.
Like, he's got that about him, and it's interesting. It's just interesting to see how he's going to be used. Obviously, he's second fiddle to Watkins right now, but Emery didn't take Watkins off. He left Duran on.
Yeah.
And so we'll just see how Aston Villa push through as the season goes on. And I think, when they are in these away games and there's a goal in it or it's a draw, I think that whole Duran Watkins up top 2 thing can really be dangerous.
Yeah.
Really be dangerous.
Yeah, I think I think especially like you say, late game when they're trying to push for a win, to have both of them up there can cause problems. But we'll move on from that game. Obviously 0-0, so not too much to talk about. So Man United versus Tottenham finished 2-2. I did think Erik ten Hag was going to lose. I thought he was going to lose it as well.
I said that in the chat, I was like, that could go.
Yeah. But Rasmus Højlund.
Yeah, great finish. I have to admit, great goal.
This is what we wanted.
Yeah.
That's create your own chances.
100%.
Score your own goals.
100%.
Fair play to Rasmus Højlund.
And the finish was proper tidy.
Yeah.
The finish was proper tidy. No joke. Roof of the net. Keeper no chance. Not even a question mark over him. I think I was saying the whole game though that if Tottenham ever go ahead at any point in this game, United won't come back. They don't have the mentality to come back into the match. Yeah. So kind of maybe fair play to United for never at any point going behind.
Yeah.
Rashford
scored a good goal.
I was so upset with Rashford's decision making in that game. It's like, obviously confidence I know is a massive thing in football, but it's kind of like Rashford was like 19 or 18 again, and he would beat the man for pace, or he would have the ball and 10, 50 yards ahead of him, and somehow not have an idea of what he really wants to do with it once the defender closes him down. It's like Rashford would dribble the ball all the way up to the defender on a one-on-one, Porro, and then be like, I don't know how I'm actually going to get past Porro. Yeah. Or I don't know who I'm trying to look for in the box. I don't know what I'm really trying to do.
For as much praise as we gave Porro last week, in that 90 minutes, he was there to be ripped.
Yeah, he was there to be ripped.
He was on that pitch to be ripped.
Yeah, he was there to be ripped.
And Rashford I know he scored and he had somewhat of an impact in the game, but it should have been more than that, man. The game plan should have just been give it to Rashford and just let him rip Porro, because he will have Porro on toe. Any 5 out of 10 Rashford. I think I said to you, I was like 6 out of 10 Rashford versus Porro.
Yeah, you did.
It's done.
It's done. And the thing is about the whole Porro thing is once you rip Porro, it's Romero coming across. Yeah. Who you know who he is.
Waiting to give the penalty.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Waiting to jump in with 2 feet to try and save the day and be the hero. Yeah. So I mean, and you're 26, Rashford. You're smart enough to know this. You're smart enough to know these guys. You're smart enough. You've been here long enough. I get it. You're out of form. We can't go too hard on him because he did score and ended up being the goal that got them a point in the end. So it's not like it was the end of the world for Rashford, but I was just like, a bit young. And you're not young.
I've said this about Rashford before on this podcast, in that the thing with Rashford is that you still watch Rashford play now when he's 26 or whatever and say, Rashford has the raw attributes. He's still raw. Yeah. Like people say about Nicholas Jackson, but Nicholas Jackson is just 21, 20, first season in the league. Yeah. Like people, and as much as that's on Rashford, I think it's also on a manager to be able to to tell Rashford. And this is why I always make the case of if he was at Arsenal and Mikel Arteta was able to actually just it give Rashford a very clear and explicit plan of this is what I want you to do. But it's also on Rashford. You are 26 now.
Be the guy. Yeah, you're the linchpin. You scored 30 goals.
A manager can help you out, but you need to go and actually show that you can beat this man. You can go either way. You have a picture or an idea of what you want to do.
No, I agree completely. It was just a little bit so childish, man. And we know Rashford to be better than that.
Yeah.
We know him to be better than that. It was almost as if it was kind of like his first or second time playing on the left wing, and like he was like, I can cut in from this side, or I can play the sort of reverse pass to the other, have a decision, have a thing in mind. I did want to big up Udogie, because I thought Udogie locked up Garnacho differently. Like when it came to that sort of physical, not like when it came to that physical 1-on-1, or even like Garnacho trying to knock the ball in behind and sprint for 50 yards, Udogie ate it up.
Yeah, he just munched it.
He ate it up. Yeah, like he did his thing. And to be fair to Porro, he was poor, or he was so defensively, but every set piece
on the goal, I don't know what he's doing. Or Rashford's goal.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing, but every set piece, sixpence. Yeah. Every set piece
picked up the assist.
I
think Udogie in particular, played well. Garnacho's not an easy guy to lock down, but even though he was playing from the right, but Udogie did what he needed to do. But United they are so easy to play against. So easy.
If you have
Tottenham had 5 key players, or 4 or 5 key players missing.
Yeah, I know.
And they absolutely dominated the game. There's not really any doubt that Tottenham were the better team in that game.
For sure.
The way they played, the way they dominated possession, and it's just even though United got a point, it's just especially the second half. The second half of that game reminded me of the second half of the Newcastle Man City game, of just Tottenham keeping the ball, keeping it ticking. Like I did think United might have a bit more than that.
I think that if you have one person in midfield who can look after and protect the ball, that you have a 65% chance of beating United.
Yeah, I mean Eriksen was just a passenger all game.
Yeah, like if you have one or in particular 2 guys who can play 2 5-yard passes towards each other and sort of get around the midfield, United are so open or so there to be dominated, or will let you have the ball, will let you have possession, will let you play your passes between each other. They just don't really want it. At home, they don't want to play a possession game.
Yeah.
And that says it all. So if United are not here to play a possession game at home, you should be creating more chances. You should be having more of the possession. You should be the more dominant team. Set pieces, they're clueless. They don't know how to defend a set piece.
Yeah.
They don't know how to.
The amount of corners that Tottenham could have scored from.
Yeah.
Richarlison.
Yeah.
Another goal.
Yeah. I thought Wan-Bissaka actually did well. Richarlison deserves a lot of respect because he's coming back in a decent way, considering that he didn't score for 18 months and now he's scoring every other game or something like that. So I do want to give him a lot of credit, and Ange deserves a lot of credit as well for sticking with him or giving him the mentality to think that he can be a guy who can produce in this team. Even Timo Werner, I'm not going to lie, we know what we're going to get from Timo Werner. He had his game. That will be him all season. He'll get a couple of goals. He'll get a couple of assists. As long as Tottenham play this sort of balls in behind highlight, I think he can be of some use. I thought Ten Hag did get some things right, though. I think Wan-Bissaka and Brendan Johnson was a good shout.
Yeah.
Brendan Johnson didn't have that great.
Seeing Wan-Bissaka play left back was funny.
Wan-Bissaka had one tackle which was just so Wan-Bissaka.
The hook route.
Yeah. How did he get the ball? Is that really not a foul? That kind of thing. And it's like
Dallo locked up Werner as well.
Yeah. But I do agree with you that I kind of expected more from United.
I just think it's just so easy. Like any team coming up against Man United must just be licking their chops as
home or away.
Home or away. It's just obviously we saw what Bournemouth did when they went to Old Trafford, but it's just I mean it's worrying. It's worrying because if United get these players back like Lisandro, Casemiro, whoever,
Lisandro came on
and they still aren't
as good,
then
real question,
real problem.
I think the interesting thing though with United as well is they had an opportunity to win the game with McTominay at the end and that header. So it's like for every game, United are gonna be that team all season where it's like they will clutch a couple of games in the end. They will do enough to maybe have a draw in 1 or 2 matches, and it seems like they only get draws versus the big teams. But I find them such a curious and interesting case of a football team because you don't see enough really for them to ever think that they're going to make top 4, but they never do enough in real game to actually fall away from the top 7. It's like they're never going to finish 12.
Yeah.
But
They won't finish in the top 4 though.
But it feels as if they're playing as if they're the 12th best team.
I really cannot see them finishing in the top.
I can't see them finishing in the top. It would take Hoyland to score 10 goals between now and the end of the season for them to finish in the top 4.
Especially with the way they're playing, unless Erik ten Hag compromises, goes back to the way he played last year and kind of hit teams on the counter. But then you still need Rashford to kind of pick up the goals. You still need Garnacho to help out. You still need like all these. I was going to say,
I was having this conversation with some United friends in my group chat. Like, I think Kobbie Mainoo is nice. I think there's a good player in there, a great player in there potentially. But I don't think that going from the injury he's had to the games he's been playing now to like, let's bank on this guy to play, even 30 games, start 30 matches out of 38 games next season. Like, I don't think that's the best for Kobbie or the best for United.
Yeah.
So I think you really, really, really need Amrabat or Casemiro or Mount, somebody else in midfield to start getting a hold of things, making things happen, doing the deed, doing things or whatever, because Kobbie will play well whenever he plays. But I think if you're looking to play him for 36 out of 38 games next year, then a lot of other Premier League teams are going to start having some fun. And he is still really young.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of positions where you can get away with being young, winger, potentially maybe even up top. But I think central midfield is one of those ones where you have to have the quality, especially for a top club, to be young and playing that team or that system, as opposed to being young and nice and somebody who needs to be like, still coached into the team or coached into professional football and coached into playing 90 minutes after 90 minutes after 90 minutes. Because I would be hesitant to give Kobbie the reins and just be like, you are the 6.
No, they can't do that.
But I think I genuinely, when I speak to United fans,
because that will kill him, man.
When I speak to United fans, that's what they want. That's genuinely like the next.
But we know United fans don't know what's good for them.
Like they generally are like, don't worry about the 6th position. Kobbie's got it locked down for the next 10 years.
Just like Jadon Sancho had the right wing position.
They're like, don't worry, Kobbie's got locked down for the next 10 years. I'm like, Kobbie's not even 20 years old yet.
I think Kobbie Mainoo's going to play a lot of football from now till the end of the season.
As he should. He's one of the best midfielders.
And I think that is the right decision. But in the summer,
you got to get someone.
Without a doubt, Man United are going to sign a centre midfield.
You know what I was reading?
Because Amrabat's not going to be here.
I was reading the Amrabat Sky Sports Amrabat's officially signed thing. They were like, Amrabat signed 8 million on a loan to buy, 8 million loan on a loan to buy, and then at the very end of the thing, it's like, Gary Neville says that I don't think Amrabat is a panic buy from United. I think he has the core attributes and abilities to really take. He's going to sit there right next to Casemiro and complement each other very nicely. It's not a panic buy from United. This is going to help them compete. And Amrabat is cheeks.
Yeah.
Amrabat is cheeks.
It's awful. But that's why I think, because of how bad Amrabat is, because of the injuries to Mason Mount and whatever, and even when Mason Mount comes back, you can't play Casemiro, Mount, and Bruno, because we saw that at the start of the season. That's just going to cause you problems.
But Kobbie, Mount, and Bruno is...
No, but Casemiro, Kobbie, and one of them is
better.
Yeah, I think that's good.
It's going to be Casemiro, Kobbie, Bruno.
Sure. But next season, Kobbie Mainoo, for his own development, can't be playing 30 plus.
If you speak to any United fan during this week, and that is
but I'm sure they say that.
That is the mentality.
I'm sure they say that.
It's like, Kobbie's just going to lock it down for us.
Well, they said Jadon Sancho was going to lock down the right wing for 10 years. They didn't think they'd have to buy another right winger after Jadon Sancho, and then Erik ten Hag spent 100 M's on Anthony.
Yeah, I think United fans, Kobbie can be a real serious player for you if you manage him properly and you keep him sort of well protected. He's already had a couple muscle injuries, so if you think that he's just going to start next season, no problem, bro. Protect that guy. There's like this. I just spoke about Jack Wilshere earlier on in this podcast. Like, we didn't do that enough with Jack Wilshere. It was one muscle injury after another muscle injury after another muscle injury, and we lost one of the best talents we ever produced. You know, and like we only got glimpses of Jack as opposed to a full season of Jack Wilshere being our number 10. And if you don't protect him and you say, go play at the Camp Nou, go play here, go play there, go do 90 minutes here.
The thing is, Kobbie can play a lot of games next season.
He can.
He should play a lot of games.
But he shouldn't be the...
But it shouldn't be a thing of like, oh, there's no Kobe Manu this week. What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, that shouldn't be the
Also,
situation.
Casemiro's on 350k or whatever he's on.
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't be, Kobe's the starting name on the 6. Like, yeah, you bought Casemiro for a reason.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think that's enough on that game. Obviously, I think Tottenham will be happier with that result, and they actually played all right.
4 points against United for Tottenham this season.
Yeah, and normally I think United get the better of Tottenham quite easily.
Yeah.
So, moving on to MVP and Rookie of the Week. For MVP, I've got Vinny Jr.
Yeah,
got a hat trick in
hat-trick. Carlo.
Clasico.
I saw crazy stat about Carlo only losing 4 knockout games in his entire Real Madrid.
Yeah, crazy. And obviously the one other one that I've got is KDB.
Yeah,
coming back, doing what KDB does. Had to give it to him.
We can agree on that. My Rookies of the Week, though, is more NFL related.
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys. God, they stink.
What happened?
So, to give you a short backstory for those of you who aren't the biggest NFL fans, and I'm only getting into NFL this season, to be honest with you, but I know Dallas Cowboys are America's team. They would be like the most sort of valuable franchise in sporting, history, whatever. So they are the team that took big smoke. We're the best team, Cowboy Nation, all season. They got bounced first game in the playoff, rookie QB in Houston, Texas.
Yeah,
So I sorry, it wasn't even from Houston, Texas, but I got to give it to the Dallas Cowboys because they'd won 16 games at home on the bounce, and they were the only team to lose their first home game in the playoff season.
Yeah.
And it's like your QB is on.
So they won 16 and then lost the first playoff game.
Yeah, at home.
Yeah,
at home. With all the pressure, not even all the pressure on them. It was just a game they were expected to win versus a team that wasn't as good as them.
So what, are they out of the playoffs now?
Done.
No,
they're
out.
Kicked off. First, gone. See you next year. Like,
so they obviously can't win it.
We're talking about rebuilds. We're talking about
the standard.
I got to give it to Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, ultra billionaire, big dog. But it's been 28 years since the Cowboys last won the Super Bowl, and it's been 28 years of just like misery and just poor performance. It's like Arsenal, the Champions League. It's like we never won it even, but like we just get there and just happy to be a part of it. And get kicked out. But at least we never they had the expectations of winning it, and we never ran our mouths like this is the best team I've ever put together.
We are the people's champion.
Exactly. I've never felt this way before. And, Cowboy Nation, stand up behind this team. We're gonna go do it. So Cowboys done.
That's a good one.
Eagles as well. Eagles. They went to the Super Bowl last year. Jalen Hurts scored like 3 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. They were very much tipped to go all the way, if not definitely get to the Super Bowl this year. They were 10-1. Like they won 10 games, lost 1 in the season, and then they've lost the last 6 they lost 6 out of 7 in the last games. Got bounced, kicked off.
They're out as well.
First round sent home. So I give it to those 2 organizations. I give it to those 2 QBs.
Yep.
You've got to do better. There is a lot of people who just had you as shoo-ins for these games. Yeah. And it's not even that you lost. You was almost laughed off the pitch for both of those performances. I mean, the Cowboys was done.
Yeah.
It was done. And like, even to be fair with the Philadelphia Eagles, it's like you only put 9 points on the board. So both of those guys are my Rookies of the Week.
Yeah. I think that's fair. That's fair. The one I have, I wanted to give one to Calvert-Lewin just because, like I said, man, if you can't score that, you might score other goals, but that is the easiest chance you'll get. You won't get an easier chance to score a goal if you're a Premier League striker. And I still remember when Nick wanted us to drop 80 million on Calvert-Lewin. Remember that in the chat? 80 mil. Bring me DCL.
Oh my gosh.
But the main rookie, Troy Deeney.
Yeah. Enough said. Yeah. What? You
can't be coming out and cussing out your player for missing a pen that could have sent his team to the. That guy who missed in the championship playoff final. For Coventry. His name was Fankati Darbo. Right, he missed the penalty. Luton won, and Luton came up. Right.
Yeah.
Troy Deeney came out and said, "I've told Darbo that he had a kick a couple months ago to become a Premier League footballer. And now he's playing League 2." Well, you can't rub that in a guy's face, man.
I was-
He's probably still reeling from that now.
I was seeing just the other week that Troy got sent off as player manager. Like,
He hasn't won a game in God knows how long. And I look at it and I'm like, yeah, okay, managers can come out and call out their players. But if Troy Deeney, the gaffer, said that about Troy Deeney, the player,
you would never stand for it.
what would Troy Deeney's reaction be?
He would never stand for it.
But you're coming out and saying, and then he's come out today, and he almost deserves another.
He's doubled down.
He's come out today and said, "I apologize." No, he was like, "I apologize. I shouldn't have said it publicly." He was like, "I don't apologize for what I said, but I apologize for the fact I said it publicly."
I've also got to give the owner of whatever club Troy Deeney's at,
Forest Green.
Yeah, because this is Troy Deeney.
Troy Deeney will never, and this might be harsh, but Troy Deeney will never be a successful manager.
No, he won't. It's kind of like Sol Campbell. Like, you know, I say this to a friend. Obviously, Sol
Campbell did all right at Macclesfield at first. kept them in the league.
Hey, there's a lot of managers that complain about sort of like black managers not getting enough chances in management. It wasn't because Sol Campbell is deservedly just a bad manager, and that's what it's gonna be like. So I agree. Like, Troy ain't going nowhere.
Yeah,
ain't going nowhere in his management career. He should have tried to do the player manager thing. Is going to be a highlight of his career, to be honest with you, because that's actually pretty dope.
Yeah,
I actually don't understand how somebody could give you the keys to their organization and say, yeah, both be a player and a coach, sub yourself on, do what you want to do, have the reins. I saw Troy in Filthy Fellas.
Yeah,
somebody said, yeah, give this guy.
He was sinking magnums on Filthy Fellas.
He was talking about him at his heyday in the Premier League, going out getting blackout drunk every week.
Yeah, Troy told some mad stories on that podcast, man. He said that in his contract negotiation.
Yeah, I remember.
I don't know if this will stay in, but in his contract negotiation, he wanted however much money. Watford were dilly-dallying on it, and Troy Deeney said, "I will injure every player in this squad if you don't pay me this money." Went out into training, smashing everyone, going through everyone. Comes back in and they're like, "Okay, we'll pay you because you're gonna injure four." I think
also one of the craziest things about Troy and that Filthy Fellas was that he was talking about him and Vardy as a strike partnership almost being like an all timer, as if it was just gonna be like Vardy. I get cold, serious.
Him and Vardy at Aston.
And I actually really respect Troy's confidence. When he was speaking about him and Vardy as if they were like
what Troy Deeney's done in the game. I have nothing but respect.
Yeah, I got nothing but respect
for him to have gone to prison.
Yeah, like, come out, still have a great career.
Yeah, come out same season as he comes out, he scores that goal that everyone knows about.
Yeah. That's big.
Come up with Watford, scored 10 plus goals for how many? What Troy Deeney's done in the game, I have nothing but respect for. But if Troy Deeney ever came to Arsenal, bro, the way I would give it 6 months.
So no go. That's the cameo I'm talking about.
Arsenal fans were just on his neck every week, man. That would never have worked out.
No.
And what was it? The other one that he came out with? He was like, if you're comparing me with Harry Kane, I've probably got better hold up.
Yeah.
If the ball's coming in the air, you probably want me on it. Troy, man. Come on. What are we doing now?
You're filthy. You're filthy.
Harry Kane.
Who's still playing? You're a Filthy Fellas. like, let's, but as I say, that mentality shows why he was able to come back out of prison and do what he does. He proper believes in himself, and
he's got a great story. I do love his story.
Yeah.
I do love his story.
Defo.
But yeah, that's it for me. And next week, obviously, so we had 5 fixtures this weekend. There's another 5 next weekend. But what we'll do next weekend, because I don't think the fixtures look like they're that interesting. We'll talk a bit about them, but we do have another top 10 lined up, and I think it has potential to be one of the funniest ones yet. So Man United fans, make sure
tune in. Okay.
But yeah, thank you guys for listening. Shout out to Wolves fans.
We're
for
here
sure.
We'll be there, Wolverhampton.
Gary O'Neill's Barmy Army. We're here, man. We're here. Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you.
Subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify. You know the drill. And peace.
Peace. Love.